I'm Sam, CEO of Merit Systems, and I'm here today to talk about progressive context engineering. You've probably seen a lot of discourse on the timeline about MCPs versus CLIs and Skills. Your favorite SaaS company that you thought was an HR provider is now talking about context engineering, and you're wondering why. I'm here to tell you that I think the entire thing is misplaced. And I think that skills are a transitory artifact that's almost guaranteed to go away. And I'm going to explain why. So let's imagine that we have a service here, StableStudio.dev, that is every frontier image and video generation AI model on the internet. And then we have three different routes that you can call on it. /edit /nanobanana, create a nanobanana image edit. /upload /job, upload an artifact for editing. /download /job, download the completed artifact. Now we have our Claude over here, let's say it's Claude code, and we've installed a skill.md in it that explains how to use Stable Studio. And we have the v1 of our API. Claude reads the skill, calls the v1 of the API. Now we want to add grok to StableStudio.dev. We've updated the API remotely to v2. This skill over here is now completely stale and has no idea how to use grok, and now Claude doesn't know that it can use grok. This is sort of the state that we're in with skills in general. Whether this is Codex or Claude or OpenClaw, these skills become stale very quickly. The second reason that skills aren't great, and I believe them to be a transitory artifact, is that Cursor, Claude Code, Codex, etc., the long tail after that, provide no guarantees, no contract to you as a plugin developer on when they'll include you in system context versus summarize you. Generally, the contract today from Claude and Codex and the long tail after that is that after you use 10% of the token budget for your MCPs or your CLI and skills, they'll summarize you and then attempt to reach for you when they need you. Unfortunately, this guarantee is quite bad. You, as a plugin, when you get installed, you have no idea how many other MCPs or how many other skills they have and whether you'll be summarized. And so you have no idea when that agent will actually reach for your skills. So your goal as a plugin developer is don't get summarized. You don't like that. That's very bad for you. Keep your stuff as small and token dense as possible and make it clear how to get more context when the time comes. Okay, that brings us to Agent Cache. We are the developers of Agent Cache. It's one balance access to every API on the internet. We've thought a ton about progressive context engineering and think we have the state-of-the-art solution. As a result, we have to deal with very, very challenging progressive context engineering problems. We don't want to support just 100 skills or just 100 different MCPs in one place. We want to support thousands or millions of these things, and therefore we need a system that scales really well. The analogy I like to draw is to the CPU cache. You've probably seen this memory hierarchy chart if you've ever taken computer science classes. If you're a vibe coder, you probably haven't. You can look it up. It'll explain it much better than I can. At the very top, you have L0. These are the registers. These are baked into the CPU itself. They're very, very, very fast to access, but you only have 32 to 64 of them. That's roughly no data at all. Below that, you have L1. L1 is about 100 times bigger, but also 100 times slower to access. Below that, you have L2, another 100x slower, and another 100x more capacity, then RAM below that, and disk below that. The idea is that each step down the tree, you have 100x more capacity, but it takes 100 times longer to access. So then, since we've come up with this strategy over the past 30 years, hundreds of billions of dollars and many great minds have been poured into building compilers for programming languages, and then operating system adjustments to make sure that any program you write in any high-level language will compile in a way that it will use this memory hierarchy as efficiently as possible. Because very easily there's a 1000x performance difference between a program that optimally uses this memory hierarchy and one that does not. So the analogy might be obvious to some of you, but this is exactly how we think about progressive context engineering. You're limited on your context budget, you do not want to bloat your context, and you want to make sure that your agent can call exactly the right tools in exactly the right order without wasting its token budget. And so we have L0, L1, L2, L3, and L4. L0 is NPX Agent Cache. It tells it that Agent Cache is one balance access to every API on the internet, and that you can use different tools within Agent Cache to get access to each of these phases. L1 is the installed domains by default. These are the tools that the user has requested stay in system context. So in our case, we have StableStudio.dev, and there would be some string that says all frontier image and video generation models on the internet. And then we have Nansen AI, price feed data, high quality price feed data. There's two goals of L0 and L1. The first is to stay as small and token dense as possible so you do not get summarized by the client and your agent always knows it can access agent cache. And then the second is to explain how to go from L0 or L1 to the rest of the tree so it can get there as efficiently as possible with as little token usage as possible. So that's this lining up. Be small, stay in context. L2 is take any domain and get the resource list. We call this the fan out. So Stable Studio, you can do /nano banana. Stable Studio, you can do /grok. Stable Studio, you can do /upload. That's L2. L3 is take a resource and get its schema. So in our case, take Stable Studio /grok and then figure out the input things you can do. You can do 2K, you can do 4K, you can do 8K, you can do fast, you can do high quality, maybe you can do transparent backgrounds. L4 is the cross-resource context. This is usually known as what people use LLMs.txt for, maybe agents.md. There's lots of standards here. I don't really care what you call it, but it's the cross-resource context. This is how you compose a series of tools together to get a great result. So in our case of Stable Studio, maybe the first thing you do is upload. You upload an artifact, maybe an image of my face. Then second, you do /edit /nano banana with that upload artifact, and you get a job ID back. And third, once it's done, you can call /download /job and get the job back and get your finished result. So that is our progressive context engineering. That's how we do it. Agent Cache is one balance every API on the internet. Please onboard today at agentcache.dev. It's a really cool experience. And if progressive context engineering gets you excited, we're hiring. How's it going? You like my presentation?
That was stupid.